A major reason I want a 25th century Star Trek show has nothing to do with Seven of Nine's new crew. For the last several years, Star Trek has pushed deeper into prequels, reimaginings, and mid-timeline stories, from Strange New Worlds to Starfleet Academy. But as exciting as these projects are, there's a growing chorus of fans who want the franchise to boldly go somewhere it has barely touched in decades: the 25th century. And while many viewers are understandably eager to see more of Seven of Nine's new Enterprise G crew after Star Trek Picard Season 3, that's not the main thing pulling me toward a new series set in this era. My biggest reason is something far more ambitious. Something that could redefine modern Star Trek storytelling, fix long-standing continuity bottlenecks, and unlock narrative possibilities the franchise has been avoiding for almost 30 years. Simply put, the 25th century is the only era with enough narrative breathing room for Star Trek to evolve again. In other words, I want a 25th century show not just to follow characters I already love, but because it's the one place the franchise can truly grow. The problem with prequels, a narrative box getting tighter every year. Prequel-era Trek has produced remarkable storytelling. Strange New Worlds especially has expanded beloved characters and refreshed the optimistic tone that defined the franchise. But the longer the franchise lingers in the century before Kirk or between Kirk and Picard, the more restricted the storytelling becomes. We already know how the universe is supposed to look in the original series, The Next Generation, and beyond. That means any prequel faces limitations. No major galactic powers can fall. No new powers can rise in ways that contradict what's coming later. Existing characters face predetermined fates. Technology has to be advanced, but not too advanced. It's storytelling with guardrails, and those guardrails tighten with every new season, every new retcon, and every time a beloved legacy character is reinterpreted. The 25th century, on the other hand, has almost no restrictions. It's a vast, uncharted sandbox sitting just beyond the familiar timeline. And right now, Star Trek desperately needs that freedom. The untapped era. A post-legacy Star Trek. Picard technically occupies the 25th century space, but only partially. It is a legacy series revival wrapping up 1990s storylines and giving the TNG cast their long-awaited swan song. The show didn't build the 25th century world. It revisited an aging one. What we need now is true post-legacy Trek. A show starting fresh, unburdened by decades of canon weight, without relying on nostalgia as its main engine. A show that acknowledges the past but isn't chained to it. Imagine a series that begins with the galaxy in a post-Dominion war, post-Borg, post-supernova landscape where every major faction is in flux. The Federation trying to rebuild its idealism after decades of trauma. The Romulans redefining themselves after losing their homeworld. The Borg finally gone, but leaving behind unhealed scars. Exploration resuming into regions untouched since the 2370s. This isn't the comfort food Trek of the 90s. This is Trek facing forward again. This is a sandbox large enough to tell political epics, frontier westerns, utopian diplomacy, and scientific mysteries, all without stepping on established canon. Seven of Nine's crew isn't the main draw. It's the canvas they stand on. Yes, fans loved Seven of Nine taking the captain's chair, and the Enterprise G crew Jack Crusher, Raffi, Sidney LaForge, and others holds tremendous potential. They're charismatic, energetic, and ready for serialized long-form storytelling. But even if a 25th century show didn't focus on them, even if they were only occasional appearances, the era itself is what draws me. The 25th century gives these characters something they've never had before. The opportunity to shape a future no one has mapped yet. Seven's Borg history hits differently in a galaxy truly recovering from the Borg's collapse. Jack Crusher's telepathic experiences could open doors to new species or reveal new corners of the galaxy never explored. Sidney LaForge could help usher in brand new technological leaps, something Trek hasn't allowed itself for years. These characters deserve not just a series, but a backdrop worthy of their potential. Star Trek needs a new era to reinvent its technology. One of the quiet issues of prequel Trek is the tech conundrum. How do you make cutting-edge sci-fi that predates the sci-fi from the 1990s? The answer has often been, you don't, which is why we now have episodes showing the newest ship on Strange New Worlds looking more advanced than Picard's Enterprise from TNG. A 25th century show solves this instantly. We could see the next generation of starships, propulsion, and scientific breakthroughs such as faster than ever warp or alternative travel methods, post-scarcity innovations changing Federation culture, holodecks that reshape identity, psychology, or exploration, medical advancements that redefine humanity's understanding of itself, transwarp or quantum slipstream speeds as regular travel. In a prequel, technological innovation is dangerous, it risks contradicting existing canon. In the 25th century, innovation isn't just allowed, it's expected. A chance to rebuild the Federation as a vision of hope. One of the reasons Trek fans fell in love with the Next Generation was the Federation's strength as a utopian ideal. But recent decades of storytelling, both in real-world tone and in universe events, have battered that optimism. From Section 31 politics to the Federation temporarily withdrawing from its allies, the universe has felt less idealistic. A 25th century show can tell an essential story. How does a utopia reinvent itself in the modern age? This opens space for the most Star Trek of conflicts, not battles between ships, but battles between ideas. Our Federation rediscovering itself would be fertile ground for stories about ethics, diplomacy, artificial life, cultural conflict, scientific boundaries, and moral exploration. Instead of rehashing the past, it would imagine the future all over again. New aliens, new powers, new threats. Finally, modern Trek has largely been mining the same handful of iconic enemies. Klingons, Romulans, Gorn, Borg, Vulcans, and occasionally Cardassians. A 25th century show can break this loop. A brand new era could introduce entirely new enemy civilizations, not tied to TOS or TNG conflicts. Unknown regions of space, where the Federation is once again the underdog. Cosmic phenomena beyond 24th century science, quantum anomalies, extra-dimensional life, and dark energy ecosystems. Political factions not bound by old alliances. Imagine a Romulan-Klingon hybrid empire or splinter groups experimenting with new ideologies. It's the unexplored that gives Star Trek its soul. And nothing is more unexplored right now than the 25th century. The return of true exploration storytelling. If there's one complaint longtime Trekkies have about modern entries, it's the lack of slow-burn exploration episodes where the crew learns, debates, experiments, and solves moral dilemmas. Everything has been so plot-heavy, so serialized, so universe-ending. A 25th century show could fix that balance. 1 week, strange new life studying humanity. Next week, a diplomatic dispute between post-war allies. Next, a cosmic puzzle requiring scientific ingenuity. Next, an exploration arc into a previously unreachable region. This is the perfect place for episodic adventure blended with serialized arcs, a modern evolution of the Deep Space Nine style. Legacy characters can still appear, but they're not the focus. Another reason the 25th century works so well is that it remains close enough to familiar characters to allow occasional appearances. Cameos from Giardi, Worf, Janeway, Seven's Voyager connections, all back.